What's going on, everybody? Paul from #sports. So, obviously, news today of Tre'davious White, kind of talking about him possibly opting out of 2020. Lots of reasons why that could happen. Now, safety reasons is what he's citing, but of course, that's all personal, right? You can think of that what you will. Everybody's got a little bit of a different perspective and a little bit of a different take on that. However, I'm here to talk to you about the money, because over here at #, I am a big proponent of follow the money. And if I were his agent versus anything else, my instruction to him might be a little bit different than what you might think, right? So removing all personal feelings aside, right? Looking solely at the money. That's all I'm concerned about right now. Only looking at the money. What do I tell Tre'davious White to do if I'm his agent? You better play. And the reason I'm telling him you better play is simple. He's on a rookie contract. His rookie contract is paying him nowhere near what his actual value is. He's got a 5th-year option after this season that the Bills will pick up. And there's no guarantee that he's got another contract with Buffalo after that. His option's going to be right in the $10 to $14 million range. I know it's a huge range, but with the salary cap going up and down, I'm willing to believe that the NFL Players Association is willing to go back to the table on what those 5th-year option discussions really are going to be. Normally, it's a percentage of the top-rated contracts at the position, but with the shift in salary cap, again, I'm kind of believing that it is of pretty solid likelihood that that would need to be revisited, right? So if we're just following the money, here's where I sit, right? Kind of long story short, I'm telling Tre'davious White he's got to play, because I need to get him off that rookie contract. The reason I got to get him off that rookie contract is I got to get him to his option year. Because the faster I can get into his option year, guess what? That means the faster I can get him to free agency or an extension with Buffalo. Now, Buffalo can renegotiate an extension with him right now. That's not a problem. But if I were Buffalo, I wouldn't do that. You're looking at, you got salary cap space this season. It's going down to $175 million next season. So you're seeing, a pretty substantial drop in the amount of money that you're going to have to spend. And Trey's going to take up about 10, we'll just say conservatively $11 million of that $175 million in cap space. That doesn't figure how much they're going to roll over, but we'll just leave that as it is and just kind of go with the assumption that it's 175. Okay, so if I'm his agent, I'm telling him, show up, go as fast as you can to play for this season. Because if he shows up and plays, and the season only lasts 4 weeks and they shut the whole thing down, he did what he was supposed to do, right? He could probably quickly get to free agency. If he opts out, you're delaying his ability to hit free agency. And here's why that is important. So he's got comparables in his current draft class. Marshawn Lattimore is one of them. Darius Slay obviously wasn't drafted, but he's one of the highest paid corners in the league. And they've obviously had conversations on Twitter about contracts. So, with that being said, right, I think the next biggest piece here is, where does Trey want to sit? What table does he want to sit at? Does he want to be there with Lattimore and sign his contract at the same time? Because they're probably going to make pretty close to the same money, right? Lattimore is going to use Trey as a comparison in all likelihood. If I were Lattimore, I would want to use Trey as a comparison for my contract. I think that makes sense. That's how a lot of these contract extensions get written, is based off of the precedent of a like player. So I wouldn't want to push that off, right? Now, here's the thing that gets to me, right? So Trey is talking about he needs to do what's right for him and for his legacy and setting his family up for generations. So here's where things get a little complicated. So you would want him to you would think that his motivation would be to get to free agency faster, because that gets him, a lucrative contract faster. Makes sense, right? The faster you get to free agency, the faster you get paid. He's not making any more money in Buffalo than what he's already set to make. He'll make a pretty good chunk next season if he does play this year. But still, even that contract is going to pay him several $1 million less than what he's actually worth. So for him, if he's solely worried about money, you play this season to get paid. But there is an argument for sitting out. And the financial argument for sitting out is you don't play this year, you show up in 2021, you play that year. Yes, you have another option year after that, which will be, again, right around the same money that it would be anyway. However, look at that free agency class and where would Tre sit? Well, Tre would sit at the top of that free agency class for the cornerback position. He'd be top. Here's where it gets dicey, though. It gets dicey because, and truthfully, Tre is a great player, but I think from a contract standpoint, Lattimore is seen as a more superior player given the accolades, right? Which I don't agree with necessarily, but I think Lattimore is going to get more money than Tre. In any case, so let's say Tre sits out. That means he's going to be at the top of the free agency class the offseason that he would hit free agency. So not 21, 22, but 2023. Now that's asking an awful lot, right? He's another year older, so that could hurt his contract negotiation, but he's still pretty young. But he could be the highest paid cornerback, of that whole free agency period. That's pretty enticing because right now he'd be a comparable to Lattimore. However, you're asking a player to project how good they're going to be down the road. That's always dicey. That's risky. So what do? Well, do you want to be the most expensive player on the free agency market at your position in 2023? Or do you want to be the second most expensive quarterback in 2022? Either way, you're getting paid, right? It's a lot of money. Let's be realistic. It's a lot of money. But I think it's a fascinating question to at least discuss. So let's just, for argument's sake, say that Tre opts out of this season. Okay. So he opts out of the season. That means year 4 of his contract turns out to be 2021. Year 5, his option year, is 2022. And that means he hits free agency in 2023. Well, salary cap is going to be in a better spot in 2023 than it will be in 2021 or in 2022. Revenue should be returning. Salary cap should be going up, which means that teams will have more money to spend. So the argument is if Tre does sit out, he will give the league an extra year to recover revenue, which means the salary cap is going to go up, several $1 million in all likelihood across that time period. So he's going to have a bigger pool of money to pull from to be the most expensive free agent on the market at the cornerback position. That's a pretty hard thing to argue against, really, when you think about it. You're going to ask Tre, think about it, right? Teams will have more money to spend on free agents. Tre will be the top paid player at that position in 2023's free agency for what we know right now. Okay. That's a pretty good argument to sit out 2020. You take a look at it, right? And you look at 2022, which is when Tre would be a free agent now, and the league will still be recovering because they're going to spread this loss of revenue over multiple years, right? But they are going to try and increase the salary cap. We know definitively the salary cap's going down in 2021. We know that, right? So if you're Tre, you're thankful you're not a free agent in 2021. But would you really want to be a free agent in 2022 where the revenue is still not going to be where it could be? And there's still going to be offsetting losses from 2 seasons ago? No, I think I'd be pretty happy to be a free agent in 2023. Now, mind you, that does not take into account the fact that the Bills could franchise tag him, which would pay him what he deserves. So that's fine, right? That works out fine for Tre. He'd get paid top dollar. Now, would it be top at his position he's a top 5 player like he deserves? Nope. But does it get him more money than he would make on his 5th-year option? Yeah, sure it does. But if I'm Tre, the thought process of, entering free agency in 2023 when the league's going to have more money, teams are going to have more money to spend, and I'm going to be, a big fish in a small pond, that's pretty enticing. Or would I want to hit free agency in 2022 where I'm a comparable to Lattimore? I don't know. Free agency in 2023 looks pretty appealing if you're looking at legacy and if you're looking at trying to set up your family for the best financial longevity possible. Again, we're only looking at dollars here. That's it. There's much more into this decision than money. Tre is going to make a lot of money in the NFL. Some people will say that, the difference in how much money is nominal. It doesn't matter. Sure. You can take that stance if you want, because there is a lot more that goes into this decision as to whether he's going to play or not. With that being said, I wish Trey all the best in his decision. I do not know what I would do if I were in his position, whether I would play or not. I think there's an argument to be made in either case on multiple ends. And, don't think that money doesn't matter, because money does matter, right? And if I'm Trey, I would struggle very mightily to either be the comparable to Marshawn Lattimore in 2022 or be Trey White in 2023. It's a hard argument for me to make either way. But then again, I don't make millions of dollars. I'm driving a Prius down Main Street in Amherst, New York. So, what do I know?